Hey, I'm Chris from Davenport's Dogs. On this podcast, we interview people from all over the pet industry to get to hear some interesting stories and learn more about our precious pets. Today's guest is Sierra Haddock. She owns Doghouse Social Media, where she helps dog businesses scale by managing their social media strategy and marketing. She recently moved to the Tampa Bay area and I had a great time meeting and talking with her. I learned a lot from this episode, and I hope you enjoy it.
All right, I'm with Sierra Haddock. She's the owner of Doghouse Social Media, and I just met her last week, so it's a pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Delaware, and I went to a smaller school in Virginia where I did business and marketing. And funny story, I actually wanted to go to college in Florida, but I was like very realistic about it. I was like, I'll have to move long distance and things like that. So when it was my senior year, I was like, okay, I'm gonna move to Florida. I don't know when, I don't know how, but it's gonna happen. So fast forward, I graduated college. I did one more fun summer at home, and then I tried a sales job, hated it, and I was just like realizing how unhappy I was. But throughout college, I was like more on the marketing side anyway. Mm-hmm. I loved networking, I loved meeting people. I was never a number cruncher, so my finance classes drove me up a wall. But then, you know, I did this sales job and I was just really unhappy, so I decided to leave that job in perfect timing for COVID to happen. So I was jobless, but not laid off, to where I got the benefits from it. So now I'm sitting probably like 4 or 5 months and like not a job in sight. I've applied for every remote job I could think of that was social media and or like marketing and anything in my wheelhouse, nothing. So then I kind of got creative, and I was on TikTok, and everyone was talking about like start your own business, be a virtual assistant, be a social media manager, and I was like, I'm a millennial with a laptop, let's do it. Yeah. So I started off actually as a virtual assistant, but one of the services I offered was social media management, and I just kind of geared towards that anyway. Throughout the midst of that, I was also getting my first dog, Bruno. So now I'm in quarantine, I have this new dog, I'm trying to figure out a business, and all these things are intermingling. I'll get into how Bruno ties into this, but you know, Bruno and I worked very hard when we first got him. So when I started gearing towards social media management, I was like, who can I work with? Like, who will I not have to Google answers constantly? Mm-hmm. I'm not a makeup person, so I didn't want to work with like makeup companies and influencers. Photography, I did that in high school, so like, you know, I worked at a photography like company, wasn't my thing. So still, I just could not figure out who to work with. And then I just like looked Bruno in the face and I was like, oh my gosh, like dog people are my people. Yeah. So to kind of tie back into that, during COVID, my friend was like, hey, can you foster my dog for me? And I was like, I got nothing to do. Honestly, that's probably great. I would love to actually have an excuse to go outside. Yeah. Because this is like thick lockdown. Like, and in Delaware, like it was very serious.
It wasn't like here in Florida.
No. Like I mean, all the hours were super limited. Like everything was closed. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like me, thank God we had roommates. Kind of made it fun. But like, I mean, it was just us. Yeah. Every day, every hour, and every minute. But she was like, hey, can you just foster my dog? I'm not allowed to have him at my parents' house, but I'll be out of my parents' house in 3 months just because, you know, COVID.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. I fell in love with this dog. And I had so many dogs growing up, but it's so different. What kind of dog was it? He was an American Pit Bull and Terrier and Boxer mix. Okay. So he was more on like the tall, slender side. And he was like just a joy. But then, you know, when we had our own place, when we had to give him back, like it hurt me so bad. But it also, I was so excited to like reunite him with his mom. Yeah. So we ended up looking for a dog of our own. And that's where Bruno comes into it. And when we got him, it was my brother's friend. And he was like, hey, I know your sister's looking for a dog. I have one. He's just bad. I was like, bad? I was like, let me see a picture of him. This big head meatloaf of a bully dog. And I just fell in love with the first picture I saw him. So, but when we got him, he was a Tasmanian devil, like bouncing off the walls, no structure, no boundaries.
How old was he?
He was 1, so he was
Okay.
even just getting out of puppy
Yeah.
years. Like, I mean, freshly 1. So, I mean, I know we'll get into that a little bit later, but in the first like couple months, like I had to work really, really hard with him. But then when I got my first dog, I realized I knew nothing.
Yeah.
Anything I knew growing up was not true. I knew nothing. So that led me to like, I dove deep into TikTok, Instagram, Google, Wikipedia, any research you can think about owning a dog, I did. So fast forward, that's why like when it came time to like blend what I really wanted to do, but who to work with, I ended up with dogs and social media.
Yeah.
So the long-winded answer.
Well, you have another dog, Cora. I have a dog
Yeah.
named Cora too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How do you spell it?
Cora.
Oh, me too.
Okay. So, where does she come into this? And
Yeah.
how old was Bruno?
Okay.
Like.
Yeah, so now I can give you more of the backstory of both of them. So, like I said, when I got Bruno, I knew nothing. And I just knew there was so much more to this dog's life than what he had. Even though it was someone I knew and was my brother's friend, he was a young kid. He was like 20, and he had 2 dogs by himself.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I get it. He didn't have the options that he wanted to. He didn't have time to train. Cool. So I connected with someone who I knew was a dog trainer.
Was that here in Delaware?
Delaware.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is now all in Delaware. I'll explain when we get to Florida.
Okay.
So, because we lived in Delaware by ourselves the last year in like in a different apartment, and this is where we had Bruno. And so, I mean, I just from like the first week, actually no, I let him like honestly get adjusted. But the second week, I mean, we got started. I taught myself a lot on TikTok. I taught myself a lot on YouTube. And then like any question I had, I just had like a few dog trainers in Delaware. I would reach out to and be like, hey, I need help with this. And I did a few sessions with dog trainers, but mainly it was like so hard to get them like where I was at in terms of like, I needed a session for, I don't know, for something like more specific, or I needed it. I was good. And then I needed a session. So I wanted to be respectful of their time and schedule. So it was just kind of hard, but honestly, I just dove super deep, and then in 3 months of just working with Bruno, completely different dog. And he, like the way he looks at me is like we work together.
Yeah.
And I call him my soul dog because the things he has taught me as well, he has taught me how to be so patient, and he works on that every day. But after kind of a few months, I just felt really comfortable with the dog knowledge I held. And aside from training, he had a heaping load of nutrition issues. He was on a kibble that he did okay on, but like he still just wasn't doing his best. He had a lot of like GI issues. And then prior to us having him, he used to eat everything. So when we got him the first week, we actually took him through a surgery that he just had a pound of
Oh my God.
miscellaneous things. So his stomach history was also all over the place. And I knew there was something more I could do for him, or like, so we actually did like 50-50 for a long time. So 50 kibble, 50% raw. We really wanted to get into like the raw or homemade a little bit earlier, but our apartment wasn't the greatest size. And we also knew we were moving. So we were like, if we're going to get this freezer full of stuff and have to move it, there's no way, or give it all away. So over those first 6 months I got Bruno, he was fantastic. I mean, we really worked together. He still obviously had his quirks. No dog is perfect, not even my dogs. But I mean, we just really, really worked together. Fast forward, we moved to Florida, and me being a freak, I'm thinking he's gonna like be irritable. He's gonna be freak. He slept the whole 17-hour drive. I was like, wow, must be nice.
I had to give our Cora Dramamine the whole way here. She gets motion sickness in cars, unless there's a window crack.
Yeah.
But I was in a hot-ass U-Haul, so
Oh,
I was like,
no.
I'm not cracking these windows
Yeah.
in the middle of the summer driving down here.
Yeah.
So I had to dope her up to get down here.
So that's funny. I actually ended up giving him like half a pill when we first left but then I was like, he didn't even need it. I just put him to sleep, if anything. Like I just made him doopy, like, I don't know. But yeah, so we moved here, and as soon as we moved here, this is like when I was really starting to, because I kind of launched that I was doing social media and working with dog people, but then I moved. So I kind of like launched it and was like, but I'll be back.
Yeah.
So I moved, and as soon as we got adjusted, I would say, honestly, after like a month, I was like, all right, time to get to work. So I was like, okay, let's start connecting with dog businesses. But what I would really love to start off with is a rescue. I was like, let me offer my services to a rescue. I'll post dogs. I will maybe come in and take photos. I don't know. I had a million ideas. Well, I was offering services ended up to me adopting a dog. So there was this rescue in St. Pete, Passion for Pits, and I was like, oh, a pity bully rescue. That's on me. Yeah. And the day I found their page, I mean, was just posted. It was like litter of 5 XL bully puppies. They're 5 months. They're 55 pounds. They're gonna have a hard time being adopted, but if you're interested, message me. And I was like, am I that crazy? Because we got her in May. We moved in April.
Oh wow.
So I was like, I just texted my boyfriend. I was like, we're getting a dog on Friday, and he was like, what? And I was like, I've already said yes.
This is why I can't let my wife go to shelters without me.
Well, now with the World Wide Web, I caught myself in the same problem. But yeah, so we ended up picking her up that Friday. The rescue was awesome, and honestly, just like it's a private rescue. It's just like the husband and wife, and they were so sweet. And then you come in, and there's like all these bullies and just like pity mixes, and it was great. But I was nervous because even though Bruno was very well trained, you never know. You just never know. And I've done enough research on like how to kind of properly introduce dogs and things like that. So I was like hoping that it would just go smooth. So we brought them home. We took them on a walk together. Then we let them like kind of sniff outside. They were cool. Bruno was super excited, but she was a little bit more nervous because she also, they spayed her. So she was kind of like all drugged up, still tired. She was like, I just want to go to bed. And then we let her come in and like sniff everything. I mean, she was great. Cora's like the dog that everyone wishes their first dog is. She's like a natural. She's the sweetest thing. Like, I don't know. And then, we let them meet. They did great. I actually kept them separated the first 3 days I had them.
Oh, yeah.
Because she was still recovering from her surgery. So I kind of thought it was great because then they could sniff each other through the fence. I did a lot of like enrichment with them, so they could like coexist in like the same space, but like get used to one another. And then I remember it was kind of like the third or like the later of the third day or the fourth day, and I just kind of like let the fence up, and they both sat on the bed together and like chewed bones, and I was like, I'm gonna cry. So they're like BFFs. I always say that Cora loves Bruno, but Bruno likes Cora because she's like the little sister.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like he's not an old man. He's 3, but she's 1, and she just like wants to play. She's 90 pounds.
Oh wow. And
he's only 65. So she like beats him up, and he's like, come on, like what is this?
So is she mixed in?
Yeah, so I think I've never done the DNA tests on them, but just through I'm a very big bully advocate. So you always catch me saying bully and not pity.
Yeah.
But I believe he is a Staffordshire Bull Terrier mix. So that's like the shorter, stockier blockhead. And then I think it actually has like the American Pit Bull Terrier in her because she's very slender. They said she was a bully, but she's not thick.
Yeah.
She's like
that
slender.
Stocky look.
Yeah, but she's big. So that's why I would say she's like more of the actual American Pit Bull Terrier. And maybe the bully, but she also doesn't have like the pointy ears. So I would love to do it, but they're also just bully mixes.
You did the same DNA test that we did on our dog Tilly's. Tilly's a rescue, and it just said Spaniel mix.
Yeah.
So our DNA test was going on Google, typing in Spaniel mixes, and then finding a picture that looked like her. So we think she's a Spaniel Lab mix.
Yeah. That's exactly how I did it.
Very similar dynamics. Our Cora and Tilly, it's like, they love each other, but it's like they're like, but like as soon as you separate them, they're like missing the other one.
Oh, I know. And if there's anything I've learned about having multiple dogs is that they couldn't be more different. And a lot of people like, I don't know, like I just realize how different they are. Like Bruno.
Two totally different personalities.
Yeah, totally different. Like Bruno likes to cuddle, but he likes his space. If Cora's not in your skin, she's crying. Like she will lay on your chest and you're like, you're 90 pounds. But Bruno like has very high drive. Like when we get working, oh, he's there. Cora's like, I'm gonna move in slow motion. Like she likes to work and she likes, but she's a little bit slower pace. So when we train and stuff, I move at her pace. But they're just very, very different. But it's nice because I think they're kind of like yin and yang.
Yeah.
They have a lot of similarities, but a lot of like complementaries to one another.
They're so funny. Well, you kind of touched on a couple of my other questions. So
I'm a talker, sorry.
Oh, no. No, I was just gonna keep going. Like, so you mentioned you're into networking, and I could tell from our first meeting last week, you were like a master networker. You knew like everybody in Tampa Bay in the pet industry. And I was like, is that just something that comes naturally to you, or is this something you had to like pick up along the way, or?
So I've always been, I'm just a talker. I love meeting people. So
that's one of the reasons I started this.
Yeah. So in college, like I wanted to be on the networking and marketing side. I always went to networking events. Honestly, even if they didn't pertain to me, I was just always loved meet because you just never know who you can meet in life.
Yeah.
So when I moved down here, none of my family's down here. I'm the only one who's ever moved long distance. I'm from Delaware, and then my like immediate family's in Jersey. That's it. That's all we got. Yeah, and Philly, like Pennsylvania. That's it. So all the like very immediate within an hour drive. So I'm the first one to actually like go far. So when I was here, I was like, you know what? I really want to grow my business. I'm sure I'll find friends with my business and along the way, but like I really need to work and do what I love to do. So I came across the Dog Moms of Tampa Bay, and they did half the work for me. But they're oh my God, I love them.
They've helped me out a lot too.
I'm in love with them.
I was just at their meetup this past weekend.
Yeah, so you go to these meetups and then you hear about like 10 other businesses, and then like they also had an event at a pet store that I really liked because that was all about pet nutrition. So they put me in connection with them. And then I realized how many like great pet stores are around here, and like everyone's different. I learned all the great rescues. I don't know, it was just so easy. So I just kept finding myself at these meetups. And then even if I didn't have time to necessarily go to the meetups, social media is an awesome place. So, I would just kind of follow them and create a community on there, and just like in a relationship. That's what I was getting at. And talk with them on there. But I don't know. I would say it's come pretty naturally to me. We actually took a test in college my senior year, and I ranked in the 98th percentile as an extrovert. So it's pretty painful how much I like to talk to people. But
you work a lot with trainers too, I saw. And then you just told me how you got into training. So is that like something you connected with them more on? So you were like, hey, I understand where you're coming from. I can help you with your social media going from this angle.
Honestly,
because your dogs, like I've watched your video, your dogs are like extremely well behaved. Like, the total opposite of mine.
I mean, they're still wild, and they still always have their mess ups. There are days like I'll walk them and it's perfect, and there's the next day I don't know. It's okay. But I think because I actually knew nothing about training prior to having Bruno, that when I got into it, it like completely changed my world. Because as much as we, love to have fun with our dogs and we like to have fun with them from a human aspect, at the end of the day, like they're dogs. They're a whole different species. And I didn't know that growing up either. Like, we talk to them, we dress them up and, humanize them, but like they're dogs. They're a whole different species in sense how we communicate. And I think because training really, really helped me communicate with Bruno, I just became obsessed with trainers because I'm like, oh my gosh, I know the scratch the surface version. You know more than me, and I need to know you.
Yeah.
So when I moved here, I knew, and I also do balance training, but I'm very open to all training and whatever works for you and your dog and your lifestyle.
What does that mean? What's balance training?
So balance training is that you're more open to tools, so prong collars, e-collars, but there is a whole different than like pack leader, dominant, like I don't do all that.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, not really a lot of people do it. It's very rare that you find people who kind of do that aggressive type of training. But pretty much using pressure and signals to communicate with your dog. I would never, ever, ever, ever use anything that hurts my dog. And all the tools I actually have used on them, I've tried on them myself. So, but a lot of people like to use positive reinforcement, which is no tools at all. And you're working on more positive association with kind of just using their motivator. So whether that's toy motivating, attention motivator, or like food motivations, that you're just constantly hyping your dog up in the sense of like encouraging them.
Yeah.
But balance training also encourages that. There's like 4 quadrants to balance training, and one of that is that. So there's just like a lot of current controversy on different styles, but that is just one of the styles that...
What's not controversial in the dog business?
I know. Oh my gosh, I know. But I just always say whatever works for you and your dog, and at the end of the day, like, it's your dog. So I'm not going to ask you questions, but I just hope the same respect for me, like what I use for my dogs, you know. Dog trainers. So yeah, when I first moved here, there's a lot of dog trainers in Tampa.
I've noticed that from Instagram.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, there's a lot. And there was a few like bigger companies, but she's one of my dear friends now. There was a newer dog trainer, and she was previously A1 Canine, and now she's Jago Holder of the Heel. But like, I mean, we just connected, and like, we're very similar in age. We believe a lot of the same things with dog training. And I just kind of said the same thing. I was like, hey, like, I know you're newer. Like, I would love to help you out with social media. And like, you know, sometimes people will be like, oh my God, yeah, I need your help. I'll do it. Sometimes people are like, not sure. That's okay. I don't ever, you know what I mean? If you're not, I'm not weird like that. But yeah, I just loved connecting with people to where I could also learn. And that was part of the reason that I wanted to work with dog people, because I just was, it's like mutual. Like, I'm helping you with what I know, but like, you're helping me with what you know, and we're just all constantly
it's mutually
learning.
Beneficial.
Yeah. So I do have I do like to work with dog trainers compared to other businesses, but I still work with like doggy daycares, pet sitting. I do work with like a pet boutique and things like that. But dog trainers, it's also cool how they all have their own styles.
Yeah.
So it's cool, like I could work with, now I'll never work with like more than one dog trainer in a specific area, because then I'm just making it harder on myself.
Conflict of interest?
Yeah. But like I'll work with them in like different towns and stuff like that. But it's cool like to see how like this dog trainer does this thing. And even if they're all like balanced, or even if they're all positive reinforcement, or even if they're either, how they do this and how they do this, how they explain this, and things like that. So I love connecting with dog trainers.
That's cool. You said something earlier about raw food, and I saw on Bruno and Cora's Facebook page, they're raw food advocates. It's something I don't know a lot about. I'm interested in it. Is this like, do I just go to Publix and buy some raw steaks and feed it to them, or how does it work?
Yeah. So
I don't know anything about it. So.
No, and this is like one of my favorite topics to talk about. So be prepared for a long-winded answer. Yes. Okay. So when I first started, one of my early on clients was a dog nutritionist, and she taught me a lot of things, because I actually reached out to her, not even business related. I was like, hey, I'm having troubles with my dog. And we had a good relationship, but didn't end up well, just because she was a little bit younger and her business was newer. But side note, I ended up learning so much, and there's a lot of controversy in that as well. But the logic makes a lot of sense. Dogs have been around thousands and thousands of years. Kibble's been around 60. Now, if dogs were to eat, everyone's like, oh, you know, dogs eat this stuff in the wild, but they're not going to know the difference. Exactly. So we have the chance to take their diet, their natural diet, and still domesticate it by making it balanced. Now, if you feed kibble and you feed raw, not one is better than the other. I am so big on whatever works for your dog is what is best, and whatever you think is best for your lifestyle is best. As long as your dog is happy, healthy, and taken care of, that's fine. But no, so I have gotten things from Publix. It is a little bit more complex because I do DIY, so I'm like the crazy person who has a freezer for my dogs, and I like go to the butcher shop and pick up like a bag of liver and lungs. But there's a lot of awesome pre-mades. There's a lot of awesome toppers. I'm just a very big person in nutrition because I like to eat healthy. So I didn't want to do anything different for my dogs. But I do encourage, if anyone is ever curious, the online has endless resources. So some of my favorite are Perfectly Rawsome, which also is a partner with Raw Feeding Miami, but they have a lot of blogs that will teach you. You can meet so many nutritionists online and like get a plan. So that's what I have. I have a plan that
are these dog nutritionists or are these just?
Yeah,
okay.
These are dog nutritionists. So I have like a plan.
I didn't know if it was like if just a regular nutritionist.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are pet nutritionists because their digestive system is so different from us. So one of the biggest things that people ask me is like, aren't you scared of salmonella? Well, I touch chicken for myself and wash my hands. So for myself, no. For them, their guts are so acidic that any bacteria that enters barely has a chance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, unless it's so severe to where it like overcomes their stomach acid. But
I literally freak out when I'm like cutting chicken up and throwing pieces in the trash that my dogs are going to get it.
Oh, they can have it.
The raw chicken, yeah. I stop. I'm like, get out of there.
No, give it to them next time. Yeah, I always tell people that. So if you're not comfortable with like full on feeding raw, next time you're cutting up chicken and you have a little extra, either throw it in with their kibble or just give it to them as a treat.
Yeah.
It takes like a little bit. Now, also do it very, very lightly when you're introducing because it's a stomach. Like anytime a stomach experiences something new, it could go real south. But yeah, so I have like this cool plan that, and this cool calculator while I plug in their weight, and it tells me like their ounces. So it's the percentages to ounces of what I need to. So I've been building their bowls going on a year. I've went over it with my vet. My vet's very supportive of it. He's not even like a holistic vet. He's a traditional vet. But I told him, I explained to him like my education behind it, like, you know, how long I've been doing it, X, Y, and Z. I go every year for blood work. If anything looks different, I call him. I'm just very honest, and it is hard having the conversation with my vet sometimes, or like with any vet about it. But like I said, there's even resources online for how to talk to your vet or how to talk to other people about it. But I mean, my dogs are doing so well on it that even when I was doing 50-50, it showed a difference in Bruno. And it's just because it's natural. So the whole rule of thumb is like, I just mix up their proteins.
What difference do you see? Is it like in their coat, their energy? Like
Oh, all the above. Energy never lacks in my house. But their coats are beautiful. So Bruno is tan and his shines like in the sun. I love seeing him go out. And Cora's brindle. So hers just always looks like so dark and like, I always say oily, but like so dark and sleek. They're fit. They're so fit too. And like neither of them are overweight. They're just great lean. Their teeth are sparkling white. We brush them just to get an extra, maybe once every 5-6 months, but we give them raw meaty bones. So the bones clean their teeth.
So on that topic, I was always told when I was like younger, like a kid, like we couldn't give the bones to the dogs because they would splinter. And
Cooked bones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
raw bones. That's the
raw
way.
bones. Yeah, so they're way more tender. They still have the collagen in them. If you ever go to, I don't know if Publix has them. Publix, but most grocery stores you can get like chicken's feet. That is like the first bone to experiment with. They're a great treat. A lot of people, you can also get them at dog stores dehydrated. That's also another great option. It'll still clean the tartar. When it comes to like bones and chews, I just have chewing dogs. Like I can't do cute toys. I have to do like indestructible rubber toys.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh. So
my
like,
dog will eat it if it's not indestructible.
Yeah. Oh, same with Bruno. We learned.
You actually kind of worried me a little bit when you were talking about the stomach surgery on Bruno because our dog Cora, her nickname is Trash Mouth because she will literally eat anything.
Yeah.
Like I dropped the paper from a piece of cheese, you know, that separates the cheese. I dropped it on the floor before I could reach down and get it, she had held it.
Yeah.
And then one time she threw up, and she threw up the top of a Zaxby's wrapper.
Oh my goodness.
So it's like she's never had any like problems that I can tell, because she normally just throws it up.
Yeah, no, that's good.
But I don't know. You're kind of like
I'm sorry not to.
Wonder if I need to go get her checked out.
No. So they'll show the signs. Bruno's mouth is also so big that like I always make jokes when he gives him treats. I'm like, Bruno, you should try tasting the treat sometime. Like, he just inhales it.
So that's our Cora.
Yeah, but like his mouth is so big that I think he just like swallows things so easy. But no, so if you ever have the sign of, dogs will show the signs.
Yeah.
And it sounds gross, but like as long as she's throwing it up and passing it, you're fine. But that is a hefty surgery, so always keep an eye on her. But because of that, I also taught Bruno the command, leave it. So sometimes I'll be cooking and they know the sound of the chopping board. So they'll like wait near me, and I don't mind them waiting near me. It's fine. But like this morning, I was just pulling out grapes and they fell in the ground. Dogs can't have grapes.
Yeah.
So I was like, leave it. And they just,
oh, that's good.
They left it.
Well, they don't know. Our dogs don't know that. I just have to be extremely quick.
Yeah.
And dive on the floor and get it before.
And dogs are like natural scavengers. So like they're opportunists. So if they see the opportunity, they're gonna take it.
Oh yeah.
So I get it. But yeah, dogs will always show the signs. And Bruno, yeah. Oh, but back to the bones, like they're just so great for their teeth. You can even a drumstick. So that's a little bit more meaty. And it would have like a little bit more cushion, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But even if you wanted to feed something like that, you could.
Like a raw drumstick?
But I always say start with feet. They're super small, and they're just very easy for any dog, small dogs.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're also not going to get a Shih Tzu, a turkey leg, or whatever. But yeah, when it comes to like raw feeding, I'm very passionate about it. I've been doing, prior to feeding it for a year, I did another year of research. So. And I'm still constantly learning. A lot of vets don't suggest it because it is hard for the average person to go through the time of balancing it. But if you're really, really passionate and you're really, really considerate of doing it, I always highly recommend for people just to research it. There's awesome pre-mades and stuff out there. They're just more pricey, so that's why I do
it definitely interests me. It's something that I thought, because our dogs are getting older. They're like 7, so it's like, I don't know, I feel like I want to give them the best to make them live as long as possible. So it's like something I've definitely thought about, but I don't know much about.
I have actually like an 11-page document I can send you that I typed up. It's all my tips, and like even where I got my research. But the cool thing in Florida is, I don't know, I'm a Facebook group junkie, and I don't know if it's 2 or 3. There's Central Florida raw feeding, Tampa Bay raw feeders, and raw feeders of Florida, something like that. But the amount of butchers and processors here, you just kind of make those connections. But I mean, I have like an Asian store I go to for duck products. I have a butcher and processor that I recently found that I go to for like their beef and all the organs and stuff. And then I also have like friends I split orders with. So like I said, it just depends how serious you are about it. A lot of people do like half DIY, half pre-made, half kibble, half DIY, kibble and toppers. Like there's just a lot of options, but anything natural most of the time is never going to be a bad option.
Okay. I wanted to get into some social media questions for you because I'm selfish and I need help myself.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. And I could talk dogs forever, but social media, same thing. So
I only know about social media what I've done is just from trial and error for the past few years doing my own thing, and just trying to see what works, what doesn't work. And what are some common mistakes that you see like dog business owners like myself do or don't do on social media?
Oh, that's a good one. So everything I say might be with some tough love, but for starters, I would say kind of letting their fears get the best of them. Incent of content. So a lot of people are afraid what they look like, what they're gonna say. They hate their voice. They think they need.
That was mine.
Yeah.
With this thick Appalachian accent.
Oh my gosh,
something that took me a while to get over.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, only you notice it. So you're your own worst enemy. And I see so many other business owners saying the same thing, like, oh, I have to have makeup, or like I have to do. Why? Just try it. So my biggest thing is just like seeing these business owners like just they're overthinking it. They're overthinking it. When in reality, the thing social media has done for businesses is crazy. TikTok blowing up since quarantine and just like has completely changed businesses. And then Instagram being the good old classic and still a great funnel. And then you have YouTube, which is really the OG and is never, going to go out of style.
Yeah.
And then you have Facebook, which is still like a nice funnel to just show your business page. But a lot of people, I would say, are just overthinking it and it sounds bad too, but making excuses. So a lot of people say, I don't have time to do this, or I keep forgetting, or whatever. That's fine. But like, if you keep, disregarding social media, it's going to show. And now these days, I don't think I would go use a business that doesn't have social media.
Yeah.
It's very rare. Or like, let's even use it from a restaurant perspective. When I'm going to a restaurant, I want to see the vibes. I want to see the food.
Yep.
I want to see what it's like. Same thing for dog businesses. Trainers, people are learning your dog training style online because you should be posting videos of how you train, or hey, these are my number 3 leash handling skills. So I see a lot of people making the excuses and kind of letting their fears get the best of them and really just overthinking the whole thing.
I like that you said that about going and finding a business online like that to make sure that they have a social media. So when I was at the Dog Moms of Tampa Bay meetup this past weekend, I was there going around interviewing people, asking them different questions, like customer discovery questions. And one of the ladies there told me that, because I asked her, I was like, what's something that will like turn you off to a business online or something? She was like, if I go to a business's page and they haven't posted in a long time, she's like, I'm not going to buy anything from them.
Yeah.
And I was like, noted.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also kind of just shows like social media is important. So it's like, oh, if you're not catering to that and it's important. And it's just kind of the way the generations are going. So I would say even like millennials, like, we kind of grew up with social media while Gen Z has never not had social media. But still, that's how we're making our decisions. And I would still even say the next generation that's older than me, I don't know, boomers or whatever, but, still same thing. Like they're looking on the Yelp reviews, they're looking on Facebook. Like I always say social media is your digital magazine. Okay, so if your magazine hasn't been updated and people don't know what's happening, what to look at, and really what's happening, like they're going to be lost just like your business. And then what's like Instagram could always just like suggest another business, like, oh, hey, there's this business that also dog trains or builds bulls and builds the stands.
So you mentioned the Facebook groups earlier. So I was actually going to ask you if Facebook is even relevant anymore, because the only reason I post on Facebook is because my Instagram gives me the option to automatically post it to Facebook.
Yeah.
So, but I have actually heard some people talk about Facebook groups, so I think there's something there. How would I go about getting involved in these Facebook groups, posting without seeming so much like I'm promoting my business? I know I can't just go in there and be like, hey, Dog Moms Tampa Bay, buy my stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so how do I get involved with these Facebook groups to like engage and actually not come off so salesy?
Yeah. And let me even take it back a step. So every platform has its wheelhouse. So every platform has its purpose, has its preferences, but also has like what it's better at compared to the other. So if you're comparing like TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, they all are so different, but they're all social platforms. But, TikTok is going to be better at this than Instagram and so on. But the sole purpose of all of them is to create a community. And what you want to do is, we can talk about engagement in a little bit, but like community is what you're trying to get at with these platforms. So to go on Facebook's been around for a long time. Even if you're going on your personal Facebook, you see someone from high school getting married, you see your aunt and uncle doing something, you see a mutual friend sharing a big, that's a community. And then these Facebook groups are very niched communities. So when it comes off to like, joining in these groups, these communities that are already set, you kind of have to find your place. So I always say kind of go in there and read the room. Like just go in, see what people are talking about. Are people asking questions? Are people asking for recommendations? I know specifically the 2 Tampa groups, there's Tampa Bay Dog Lovers and there's Dog Moms of Tampa Bay, always asking for recommendations, but more specifically services. So they're asking for the best vets and like dog sitting and things like that. So if you're those, go find those groups. But I would say just be yourself and be genuine. That is really what people are looking for with social media as well. And the more real of a person you are and the more authentic and the more, honestly, I think even just showing your products would be just like, hey, like, I wanted to shout out Sabrina and the Dog Moms of Tampa Bay. I just finished a bowl. Just show it. You don't even have to say like, hey, if you're interested, don't just show off your products, or kind of read through the comments and try to figure out where you can like still discuss your business. And then even from time to time, message the Dog Moms in Tampa Bay. And I know most groups also have like a promo day. So where you can't necessarily sell every day, but like Wednesday you can put up a promo like, hey, I'm Davenport Dogs. I make these awesome stands. They're customized and, whatever you want to say. And then you make sure you kind of get in those days. But the more people also see your little icon and you commenting and engaging, they're going to funnel to your page anyway. Okay, so half of the work is really just being genuine. People want to buy from people. They don't, want to feel sold to or, So it's all about
I hate being sold to. So it's like why that's why I have didn't know the right way to go about it, because I was like, I know this isn't going to work because it wouldn't work on me.
Yeah, right. And so it's a great thing. And part of the reason I got into what I do is because I came from a consumer perspective. So I knew that I could do well in helping these dog trainers on social media because I was the consumer who needed the trainers. So same thing, if you also know what consumers have said to you, like your customers. So you always keep those in your mind, because at the end of the day, you should have a target audience, a target customer. So if you always keep, let's say your target customer, Sheila, always keep her in mind and like, why did she buy your product? What did she buy? Where is she from? This is going into like more marketing, business, school stuff, but I would say really just be genuine, and that's kind of why TikTok is thriving right now, which we can get into, but being yourself and people will gravitate towards you.
Well, since you mentioned TikTok and building an audience, so TikTok is actually something I've been putting a lot more time into recently, because I've been able to grow my following pretty quickly there. How would you, I guess, along the building your target audience and your community, like how would I go about that with TikTok? Like, so I just had a video blow up on TikTok and on Instagram, got millions of views.
Oh, awesome.
But you had a post recently that was like, number of followers don't equal more money.
Yeah.
And I found that to be 100% true, because this video on both platforms has been viewed by almost 10 million people. That has translated into $0. Yeah. And for one part, it's nothing about my business. It's just a funny video of my dog. Yeah. But at the same time, how I'm trying to build a profitable business on these platforms. So how would I, just specifically to TikTok, how would I build an engaging audience on there, an ideal target audience? Because like this video just went to anybody and everybody.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about like what I was talking about with what each platform provides. So TikTok is, the reason it does so well is because it's just raw, genuine, upfront, almost the less edited the better. Now there are a lot of like content creators who do like the really crisp video, the really cool transitions, and they do really well, but that's like their full-time business. So if you're a business and you're still trying to be a content creator, you have to have this blend of quality and quantity and genuine. So with TikTok, really you just have to be consistent. I'm gonna even just put it on the table, I am not as much of a TikTok expert as I am in Instagram, because their algorithm it's almost like hard and easy to master. But in my opinion, it's also so saturated Like, so for example, you could have this video that got 5 million views.
The next one got 200.
Yeah. And you could be silent. I actually have a client who is like a dog influencer, and we focus on his Instagram now, but his TikTok has 50,000 followers. We haven't gotten a video in over like 500 in like forever.
Wow.
And like, I mean, we've done trends, we've done, and like we've
It's
just
so weird. Like I said, it's like I never know which one is gonna hit and which one doesn't on there. And it's like the ones that I feel like are gonna hit,
that's what everyone says.
Never do.
Yeah.
And it's the ones like the one that got 10 million views. Me and my wife put it together in 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Like it was like we took a sound, a funny video of Cora, threw it on there.
Yeah.
Didn't think twice about it. Woke up the next morning and it was like 660,000 views. I'm like, what the hell? I put no time into this.
Yeah.
But
no, and that's how it goes on TikTok. Like I said, it's so hard to figure out their algorithm, but my always scratch the surface advice is quality and quantity. Mm-hmm. So if you're really getting started on TikTok, at the bare minimum, and like you're going to be serious about it, once a day. If you're really, ready to kick it up 2-3 times a day. Mm-hmm. Compared to Instagram, it's a little bit more different. And my biggest thing is sustainability, because you can be big and you can answer all these questions, but say you have these 50,000 followers and let's even say 10,000 of them are constantly engaging with you. Like mm-hmm. That's a lot of people to keep up with. So when it comes to TikTok, it is not like where you engage on Instagram. It's not like their community is strictly on videos. Mm-hmm. So you just want to just keep showing yourself, and variety is the best on TikTok. So post videos of your dog, but don't forget to highlight your business, highlight what you're making. People love like the aesthetically pleasing, but people also love like things they don't know about. Like for example, like I'm not a mom, I don't have kids, probably won't have kids for like another couple years. I will watch a mom video and like how to parent 101, but like things that just don't pertain to me, people love learning. So even if you just did it from a carpenter perspective, mm-hmm. and you talked a little bit more about that, if you talked about your dogs and why you got into that, like people will cling on to something, and once it kind of gains more traction and you see like a specific video where people are like, oh, you built that stand, like, oh, what stain did you use? Or, what tools do you use? What does your shop look like? Once you kind of get that community, people will start giving you the content. But the whole thing on TikTok, I just feel like I never give the best advice for it, is trial and error. Just keep testing things. Be committed to it though. Mm-hmm. You are not, no matter what platform, you will not see results in anything less than 3 months. Anything less. Can you still get big or have a viral video in these 3 months, and can you still pick up traction with it before those 3 months? Absolutely. But the whole time frame is you have to be patient mm-hmm. with Instagram or with social media in general. Yeah. So with TikTok, I always say variety, try different things, go outside of your comfort zone, and really see what grabs. Also, everyone thinks like it's copying, but like see what other people are doing in your industry. If someone is, making the same elevated stands you are, but they're all the way over in Washington, but they have 100,000 followers and they're consistently selling out, see why. Yeah. You can always use, it's inspiration. It's not copying. Now, if you're actually copying their video from A, B, and C, yeah, but like it's okay to use everyone as inspiration.
So along these points, being consistent and everything, that's something that I struggle with also. And when I'm on it, I'm on it.
Yeah.
When I'm on it, I'm posting. Like, I went for a while posting 3 times a day on TikTok, and then I get caught up in the day-to-day of running my business, starting a podcast, and doing all this other crazy shit that I do, and I'll just forget to post, and then that turns into a week of not posting. Yeah. What are some tips, tricks, tools that I could use to stay consistent, to be more consistent?
So I'm all about consistency, but also sustainability. So meaning you can post every day, but at the end of the month you might be exhausted. Mm-hmm. So I don't necessarily think it has to be every day, but find a schedule, even loose. that works for you. So if you're like, you know what, I can't if I can't commit to posting 3 times a day, 7 days a week, but I can do guaranteed 3 or 4. I say that's the sweet spot anyway. You want to make it, you're a business owner first, and you're a carpenter first, and you're, a family guy first. You're not a content creator just yet. Yeah. And even if you are, that's still going to be the last thing, but you want to prioritize that. So I always say kind of pick a day to make content, or make content on the fly, or always have opportunities to make content. It sounds stupid, but I mean, your tripod should be your best friend. I say it to dog trainers. I say it to doggy daycares. Like, set it up, record. Worst comes to worst, you get no content and you delete it. But like, just recording those candid moments, you never know what you can get. And like, even if it's like just like a day in the shop of you, really doing your woodwork, people love that stuff. And all it took was you 5 seconds to set up the tripod and record what you're doing. Then maybe you go home, you do a voiceover, 5 minutes.
Well, that was one of the reasons starting this podcast.
Yeah, see, look and know all the content.
Well, and then I can just chop it up into different clips.
Yeah,
and then,
yeah.
And also the fact, like yourself, you're a talker. I'm also a talker, so it's just,
yeah,
it works out that I can just talk to people all the time now.
Right, exactly.
Instead of being stuck in my shop all day, which is something that like gets old fast.
Exactly. See, I already try new things. I love it. But I just pick a schedule that works for you. So I always say I'm like the less aggressive social media manager. That's just because I understand who my target audience is. They're training dogs. They're making supplies. They're running boutiques. They're running a doggy daycare. Like, they just don't have the time that they just don't have the time. But you can make there's like little weasel holes that you can make the time for. So whether it's setting up a tripod while you're doing a training session or whatever. So just figure out where in the day, like, oh, hey, I know from 9 to 10, I'm in the shop every day, just for the first hour. And usually I'm sitting in my office. Let me take one of those days to do some lip syncing videos, or like, that might not be your style.
I've done them.
No, okay, cool. Or like on Fridays, you're like, you know what, Fridays I usually have 3 hours, to kill, where I'm just kind of doing paperwork, but I need a break. Like, find like the little holes and make it sustainable. And even though, like I said, consistency and like 3-4 times a day, just make it work for you.
Yeah.
Because you can get burnout. Burnout is real.
Oh yeah.
With social media and content creation. So
I've been burnt out twice in my life. So
yeah,
it's actually a priority of mine with this business is to not get it to the point where I'm burnt out.
Yeah, and as a social media manager, I'm not only responsible for my content, but other people's content. So I get burnt out quick. Mine are like little small burnouts, but I mean, I remember having like one big burnout where I just took a week off and I was like, I gotta breathe.
Yeah.
So make it sustainable. Make it fun. As soon as it starts not getting fun, pause.
Yeah.
Make it fun. If you enjoy it and you're like, actually, if you're passionate about the stuff you're talking about, it's not even going to seem like you're doing the job of social media, So just have fun with it, make it sustainable, and make it work for you. So for when it comes to consistency, like I said, just kind of pick a general schedule. I'll post maybe 2 times a day, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, once a day on Thursdays, but I'm going to take Tuesdays off. And it still doesn't even have to be that intense.
Yeah.
So when it comes to Instagram, and that's my wheelhouse, my target is never past like 4 times a day. Or sorry, 4 times a day, 4 times a week, 4 times a week.
Like, man.
I was like, you're like, that's a lot. Sorry, 4 times a week. And I even like to just give people the weekends off because, like, breathe on the weekends.
Yeah.
Like, enjoy the weekends. If you're gonna work on the weekends, just work. You know what I mean? Or if you have time to get content.
What's worked for me in the past is like if I'm able to make the videos before the weekend and just have them like queued up. Yeah. Like it's always worked, but my problem is setting the time aside to get those videos where they're ready to just click post.
Yeah,
like when I can just click post, it's like I don't have to think about it. Like,
I know. And that's the unfortunate part with like video content now. There is never going to be an auto publish for like posting them. So for example, like you could make up a cute graphic in Canva and then schedule it out and not think about it. when it comes to like reels and videos and TikToks, you can't. Now, the only thing that you could do, I think it's one extra step, but maybe it would be great for someone like you who kind of struggles to remember to like post them or whatever. Later is a scheduling platform, and they have where you can upload the reel, but it'll remind you. Like, so say you have this reel, it's ready. Maybe the only thing you need to fix up is the caption. You could put, oh, okay, I want to post this Friday at 12 o'clock, and it'll remind you Friday at 12 o'clock. So something like that, but also, that just comes down to like remembering and being consistent. We're all human. It happens.
Yeah.
But I also try to like finish it that day because I'm forgetful too, or like I have really bad ADHD. So if I don't do it that day, who knows when it'll get finished? Or like I'll remember it like 3 days from now. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got to finish it. So I try to like, but I have more like content creation time. So if I spend 5 minutes making a video, I'll try to edit it or do the caption. So I try to do at least one piece past making it.
Okay.
But like I said, make something work for you.
Yeah.
Or maybe one day you're like, hey, on Mondays I'll shoot all my videos. Tuesdays I'll do the captions. Or Tuesdays I'll edit them, and then Thursdays I'll do all the captions, and then they're ready for next week's. So just get creative with it.
I like that because
it doesn't have to be cookie cutter.
I'm like you. I have to do it all at once. If I'm doing it, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
It's like I can't break it up into steps. But anyways, so do you mainly just work with people in Tampa, or is it anybody else?
Yeah, no, all over.
Okay.
So I have one client in Tampa. I have a client in Orlando, a client in Jacksonville, a client two in California, one in Washington State.
Oh wow. So you're literally all over the U.S.
Yeah.
All
and
right.
that's cool because I'm virtual. So the only thing that people get me is the content.
Okay, so for anybody wanting to reach out to you for your services, where can they reach you at?
Yes. So of course you can find me on social media at Doghouse Social Media. My website is in my Instagram right now, but it definitely needs a refresh. But still, if you want to find out more, you can absolutely visit my website, which is doghousesocialmedia.com. You can email me, message me, anything. I'm very big on like people asking me social media questions. Sometimes people feel like embarrassed to not know things, and I'm like, no, ask me.
Yeah.
Or even just like say hi. I'm a talker, so I would love to like meet people. But you can email me, Sierra at doghousesocialmedia.com. I'm mainly on Instagram. I have a TikTok that I also put to the side. And then my Facebook and stuff as well. But I mean, those are my main sources of communication. So yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Sierra.